Well, today I am talking to my friend Tammy, and Tammy, she covers an area called Hickory, North Carolina. And did you know, if you're watching this video, that that is a furniture capital in North Carolina? They make tons of furniture there. But today, let me introduce you to my friend. Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you today, Jennifer?
Good. I looked that information up and we were talking about it. Wow, I didn't know. Hickory, you guys make a lot of furniture there.
Yes, we're known for manufacturing of furniture and textiles, and it's really quite the hub for the entire country for those types of endeavors.
I love it. So I'm gonna have to come visit. I bet you have a lot of antique stores and cool stuff like that too, but we'll get into it.
We have an entire furniture mart devoted to showrooms for our manufacturers. You could come and look at hundreds of stores.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, why don't you tell everyone, about yourself and, how long have you been in real estate and all, kind of all the areas you cover in North Carolina?
Sure. I grew up here in the Hickory area. My husband and I have raised our six children, and we are on the cusp of being empty nesters. We still have one kid at home and a dog.
Okay.
And I got into real estate in 2018 after homeschooling for 20 years, writing two books, and I also was writing a newsletter on decluttering in your home. And that is what led me into real estate was my little decluttering newsletter that I still write today that goes out 5 days a week.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. So you started, so first of all, let's not skip over the fact you have six children.
Yes.
And you homeschooled for 20 years. I feel like you just flew right past that. That is amazing. Well, if you can do that, I know for a fact you can do anything. I don't have any children, so that to me is just the most amazing thing. Congratulations. You're almost empty nesters. What does almost mean?
Well, a 23-year-old still lives at home and his dog.
Okay,
So
okay,
he
okay.
is
So,
gainfully employed and waiting on the right next step for him.
sure. Tell me about this decluttering newsletter because this is going to be something we talk about. How did that start, first of all?
When I was out speaking on the homeschool circuit, promoting my book that I had written, I met the Fly Lady who lives in Brevard, North Carolina, and she has millions of people around the world who read her newsletter. And her grandchildren were being homeschooled, and she really wanted to get into that realm of helping moms who are home all day long with their kids. And, kids make messes all day long. And how could we take her program of 15 minutes a day to the homeschool world? So I started working with her and developed the newsletter, and it goes out at 5 a.m. every morning.
That is incredible. So I'm assuming you have tons of subscribers.
I do, and they're around the world, which is really cool because I feel like I have friends all around the world, and people like to move to Hickory, North Carolina, so I can get referrals from people who think that their friend may want to come join me over here in the big city.
Okay, let me write down request newsletter. Okay. Okay, that's amazing. Well, one of the populations in real estate, we're going to talk about your area soon, are people that are looking to downsize, and
Hmm.
that just brings up decluttering. Um, do you work, since you do that decluttering newsletter, do you work with a lot of people who are looking to downsize, and how does that newsletter help them?
I do work with a lot of people who want to downsize, or they may be in a two-level home and they want similar square footage, but they need a different layout. And they may have been in the home 20 years or more. It's very common in our area for people to have been in their house a long time if they grew up here. So I can take what I've learned and share it with them and give them easy steps that break it down. And if they need muscle and they need help, I do have people who do come in as professional declutterers to help them make those decisions. It does help if they can make them themselves because there's a lot of emotional attachment to our stuff in our homes. And I think that's something as real estate agents that we go through as we're working with our listings to help people decide, what do we want to leave for staging? What should we pack up? How can we make a buyer feel like they've just walked into their new home? And so bringing my experience in the decluttering world does help. in real estate quite a bit.
That is incredible because I will say, when working with people who want to downsize, I will say that is a struggle for me talking to them about decluttering. And the
Hmm.
reason why is because I don't have any emotional attachment to things. And I will say that I think my generation has less emotional attachment to
Hmm.
things than the parents, for example. You
Right.
know, and so I was doing a decluttering seminar at the library, and the more senior citizens were coming, and you could see how emotional they would get about just, a stack of papers, or, just
Hmm.
anything in the home. And for me, it's really hard to understand, but I know that they come from a different mindset, a different generation where, they maybe a scarcity mindset back, you know, depending on how old they are, of course. But so I really struggle with, trying to relate to that. But I know that that's a big deal because I've been to people's homes where they really do need to declutter. So you're helping a lot of people in the community. But speaking about your community, let's tell everyone. So, what all areas of North Carolina do you serve?
I cover about an hour radius from Hickory. I will go
Okay.
as far south as Mooresville, North Carolina, which is the Lake Norman area. I cover east to Statesville and I cover west to Morganton. And I cover a
Okay.
little bit north, but that's getting kind of mountainous, so I tend to stay a little bit more where we're a little flatter. I don't know if you've been on a skinny mountain road, but sometimes there's not a whole lot of fun.
Uh, that's scary. I've been on a few, but I don't recommend it. Okay, so you cover about an hour outside of Hickory. Let's talk about people who are moving to Hickory. So, you manufacture a lot of furniture there.
Hmm.
I know there's other things there. You have a little bit of racing. You're just an
Yes.
hour north of Charlotte also, is that correct?
Yes, it's about an hour to get to Charlotte, and our community actually has more people who live here and work in Charlotte than the reverse. We have a great tax base. Things are a little cheaper, cost of living's a little cheaper, and I follow closely the demographics in my area, and we do have a lot of people who like to live up here and make that hour drive to Charlotte for work, or some of them work remote.
So it seems like people are sprawling out from, that Charlotte center, and over the years getting further and further out. So would that make sense if someone was maybe working in Charlotte and maybe they were a first time home buyer, for example, and wanted to save a little bit of money? Would it make sense to go up toward your area?
Absolutely. It absolutely would because they'll find a less expensive home and usually get the same square footage or maybe even a little bit more for the same price as they would in Charlotte. And our taxes are quite a bit less expensive.
I see. So when we think of other people who are moving to your area, um, does that furniture industry, racing, or any of the other industries that you have, does that bring people to your area for different jobs?
We do have a lot of relocation for business. Actually helped several CEOs relocate who took
Mm,
over management of companies. I also have a lot of retirees who want to come
mhm.
here because they can easily get to the mountains from here. It's a 4 hour drive to get to the beach, and they can go north or south very easily as well. And we get all four seasons. And we find that a lot of people up north would go to Florida and decide Florida's hot all the time and they bounce back up the coast and they end up here.
Yes, and I'm one of those people, I don't want to be so hot all the time. So I do want some of the seasons. So I'm assuming, and I don't know, you don't get a lot of snow in your area, do you?
We don't get a lot of snow. It usually comes and goes pretty quickly. However, we've had a
Mhm.
few 15-inch snows and 12-inch snows, and that tends to give us a holiday. We'll just say everything shuts down because we're not prepared for that.
Right. Hey, in Indianapolis, we don't want to be prepared for that either. So I get it. So when you're talking about retirees, are there certain states that you see people coming from a lot? You said the North. Is that mostly where they're coming from?
Most of mine come from New York, California, Florida, and Texas.
Okay, okay, okay. I can see California because it's very expensive there, and this is uh, same with New York and all those. So that makes sense. Well, when retirees are looking for a home where you are there a lot of, one-story homes, ranch style homes that they have to choose from, or are they building some of those senior communities like Del Webb in your area? What's going on with, the new construction?
We actually have both. We are
Oh,
known for our craftsmanship, and we have a lot of single level homes that were built in our past. We also have a lot of new builders who recognize that we have that need. And so we do have quite a few new homes that are one level, easy to get in and out of. They're more sensitive to the needs of what they would need inside the home as well, with access in the bathroom, the kitchen, and having everything handy.
okay. So, you have plenty of those type homes for people looking to retire. You mentioned you're 4 hours from the beach and however far from the mountains. Are there things to do in the town of Hickory? Like, what kind of activities or things could people expect to do when they move to your area?
We are blessed with a beautiful park system. We have a multi-use path that's 10 miles long that comes from our regional
Mm.
airport, comes through our downtown, and goes to our only 4-year university in Hickory, Lenore Ryan University. And we have seen such growth in our businesses, commercial, in our housing that go along this 10-mile path. And it's very wide, so you can run, bike, walk, whatever.
I love that. I love that. Do you have well, and of course they can go to Charlotte as well, which has lots of shopping and I'm sure does Hickory have a little town square? I just picture it having like a little downtown.
Yes, if you look me up on YouTube, I'm really good at showing what's going on throughout the year downtown. We have summer concerts on the square. We have
Mm.
it all decorated up for Christmas. We just had our Christmas parade a few weeks ago, getting ready for the holidays. There's always something going on in our downtown, and it's so vibrant and pretty, and it's so different than when I grew up here. In my childhood, it was a lot of, shopping. You had the dime store and the department stores. As those went away, we've gotten all these cute boutiques and we've got DIY places. And it's just a really neat little area now of business and entrepreneurship.
I love that. Let's talk about investors. So, you have retirees coming from Texas, New York, Florida, California, but do you see investors looking from other states for opportunities? Are there still opportunities in your area? Because, for example, I know in Indianapolis, there are opportunities, but not as many as there once were.
There are definitely opportunities, and I work with a handful of investors, more of them local than from out of the area. We have the most pre-1978 homes in the entire state of North Carolina. And those come up quite frequently needing some TLC.
Mhm.
Lots of our investors like to pick those up, fix them up, update them, and even our appraisers look at these fully updated bungalows as new houses. So they really get good appraisals once they're renovated and brought up to standard. We're known for lots of cute craftsman style homes in our inventory.
Okay. Now, are the investors investing and turning those into Airbnbs, single family homes, or housing for students? Because I know you said you had a college.
Mhm. Most of them buy them and resell them
Oh,
and,
okay.
and just move along. We do have some that will turn them into rentals, whether it's short term, mid-term, or long term. We have two large hospitals, so we do have a need for mid-term housing for travel nurses when they're bringing in different professionals who need temporary housing while they look for their dream home.
Okay. Now let's talk about, what would you say? And of course, things change and fluctuate. So just in general, in your area, what would you say the median kind of price for a single family home would be? I know there's a range, but just to give people an idea.
Around $335,000 is a good number for what our median is. Prior to
Okay.
COVID, we were less than 200,000. So we have had quite the market appreciation
Oh,
in our
wow.
community because it became quite popular when people were looking for a place where they could live, work, and play.
Wow, that's quite a big appreciation. Uh,
Hmm.
what about condos and townhomes in your area? Is that something that you have a lot of, or how is that market?
It's a small part of our market. We do definitely have them, but single family homes are traditionally what we have the most of. And we do have some senior housing in the townhome world that really has met a need there because they don't want the outdoor responsibilities of a yard and lawn care and all that. So we have a couple of communities that really have built these townhouses that are three or fourplex, one level that our senior population really tends to gravitate toward.
I know we briefly touched on first-time home buyers that maybe if
Hmm.
they were living in Charlotte, that they would go a little further north to your area. But, are you seeing a lot of first-time home buyers?
We are, and I attribute that to the down payment assistance programs available in our
Mm.
community. We have local funds, we have state funds, and we have federal funds. And so I have had the joy of working with nearly 10 families in the past couple of years who have taken the opportunity for these programs. And it can be anywhere from $15,000 to $90,000. And most of my first-time home buyers are paying the same or less with a payment than they were for rent.
Wow, that is incredible. So we have Indiana down payment assistance, which is great. No, they actually just lowered the limit to 5,000. So wow, you
Wow.
having those programs is really great. 5,000 does help though, because our cost is a
Hmm.
lot lower than yours. Honestly, in Indianapolis, a median price for a single family home is 247. This is as of December 2025. So
Hmm.
um, that's, obviously there's homes lower than that. So it sounds like your area is a great area for, first time home buyers, especially
Hmm.
having those programs. That's amazing. A good place for investors, plus obviously a great place for people who want to retire. So, I think anyone watching this video, if you were thinking about retiring, investing, you haven't bought a home, Hickory is really a place that you should look into. And of course, my friend Tami Fox, we're going to put her information below, but she is the expert in the area. She knows all about decluttering. We know that. And I got to get your newsletter. She's written books. She's an author. She's a mother. She knows it all. I'm so glad you were able to talk with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today, Jennifer.
I'm so glad I learned all the things about Hickory, and I definitely need to come visit.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.